What you can do? All right. Here's the focal point. The three gates. You're supposed to select them one by one. Okay? So you're not looking at faces. You're not looking up. You're not looking down. The gates. All right? And if you start to get emotional, it's totally okay to pause. Take a deep breath. Just pick it up. Move forward. Got it. Got it.
Seated. Thank you. Good? All right. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and start the program. So I'd like to start by saying good afternoon to my fellow cadets, my fellow troopers, my fellow turkeys. Thank you for being here today as we gather to honor a remarkable man, a mentor, a teacher, a leader, and for most of us, a second father, Lieutenant Colonel Robert L. Powell. Today is more than a memorial. It is a reunion of lives shaped and molded by a man who led with fierce discipline and even fiercer love. It is a celebration of the lives he touched, the standards he set, and the legacy he leaves behind, not just in uniform formations, but in the way we carry ourselves through life. A small slice of that legacy is in these stands, and with so many more who wanted to be here to honor the Colonel. Most of us remember how he greeted us, with that deep voice, half command, half comedy, or when we made a mistake, how he would call you in, chew you out behind that door, but send you out that door with a sense of renewed purpose, direction. That was Colonel. Tough love, straight talk, and a heart always in the right place. Today's program will reflect the many facets of who he was, a military man, a teacher, a coach, a motivator, and most of all, a constant. So as we move through this tribute, from the presentation of colors, to the performances, to the video montage, to the shared memories, in this space to become a reflection of a man who we believed in dignity, discipline, and doing your best even when no one's watching. As we begin, I invite you to be fully present, laugh if you remember his jokes, cry if you need to, but most of all, let's honor him in the way that he taught us, with pride, unity, and gratitude. I would also like to introduce you to Colonel Powell's family, who's here with us from Georgia today. Actually, right here, right in front. I also want to acknowledge Principal Superintendent Gwen Chan. So let us begin with the presentation of colors by the SFUSD JROTC Color Guard. we'll play the Star Spangled Banner in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance. I know it said Pledge of Allegiance. You guys don't have to memorize that. You guys don't have to do that anymore. As former cadets, I now ask you to stand and to salute or place your hand over your heart, whatever you're comfortable with. And with that, Lincoln Battalion, attention, present arms. Thank you. May please take your seats.
During his tenure, Lincoln's JROTC program was rated as one of the most successful ones in western United States by the Department of the Army. It was so well run that Colonel Powell also became the director of Army instruction for all the JROTC programs in the San Francisco School District. He taught his cadets many leadership skills that prepared them for life. Skills such as how to deal with conflicts with poise and grace, and how to communicate succinctly and efficiently. He was a respected mentor, not just to his own cadets, but to students in the broader community. He did so by opening up the JROTC facilities to students to gather during lunch and after school, and counseling teenagers who were going through challenges. Our own budget and finance clerk, Brent Halifa, served under Colonel Powell as a battalion commander at Lincoln High School in 1994. He credits Colonel Powell for providing guidance and molding him into the effective public servant he is today. Before joining Lincoln High School's JROTC program, Colonel Powell had a 23-year decorated career in the military. He began at Fort Benning, Georgia, where he attended air jump school. He was later assigned to Checkpoint Charlie in Germany, which was best known as a crossing between East and West Berlin. He also served and was injured in Vietnam, where he received a Purple Heart. His other awards include a Bronze Star with Valor and Commendation Award with Valor for heroism in combat and a Merit Service Medal. He retired from his military career here in San Francisco at the Presidio in 1982, and that's when he turned to servicing the youth at Lincoln. Lieutenant Colonel Powell passed away peacefully April 13th at the age of 88. He is survived by his wife Emily, daughters Robin and Rhonda Powell, and the thousands of cadets at Lincoln High School whom he inspired to be their best selves.
How do I say goodbye to what we had?
Say what a man compared to he was the same when he's got presidents talking to custodians. And I want everyone to think for just a second, what it was like for him to be a teenager in the 50s in the United States, and then what it was like to be a black officer in the early days of his career. And I saw so many photos of him. He was the only person of color in the photos oftentimes. And so I just want us all to think about that and not forget the life they lived within Michigan.
Is going to leave, and all I know is where we've been and what we've been through. And if we get to see tomorrow, I hope it's worth all to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine and the rain. So hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Good show, Turk. Good show.
So at this time, if you'd like to come up and say a few words about Colonel Powell and the impact he had on you, I'll start by myself. I am an immigrant. I came from Hong Kong. In 7th grade, my father passed away. I come from a very traditional Chinese family. and I'll leave it at that. When my mom came here on back to school night, she met Sergeant Batiste, she met Colonel Powell, and she said to me, and I still remember it this day, those two love you. And she had not said that about any other teachers that she'd ever met. And for a Chinese American woman of a very traditional background to say that, it's powerful. And for a Chinese American to look up to an African American, even in the 90s, as a role model. And as you can see, it had an impact on me. So yeah, that's about 10 years ago, I still help out at Camp Parks. I went to Colonel Powell. I said, Colonel, I'm out of education right now. I'm working in an ambulance company. I'm an executive. And he says, no, you go back into education. And right now, I'm back in education and I'm teaching. And I was very happy to tell him that. So the open mic for anyone else.
Hello, my name is Quincy Yu. I met Colonel Powell at the first PTSA meeting at Lincoln High School when my son started. He came in and said, we have a problem. SFUSD is going to cancel JROTC. Would you help? PTSA voted, 100%, we would write the board. We were told the teachers wrote, principal wrote, every JROTC school wrote. But what did they do? They canceled it anyway. During this process, I started writing to each and every commissioner, asking them why. We put a book together saying, strip away the name. Look at our statistics. Look at the fact that our kids have a lower problematic issue, graduate in a higher percentage, do community service. Why are you, and by the way, we are a minority program. And 80% of our instructors are African Americans. Role models that you can't even represent at SFUSD. But they did it anyway for political reasons. So, he had a way of making you agree to do things. Would you all agree, cadets? My child wasn't even in JROTC. He was in football. But we shared facilities with the JROTC program, and we saw what it did for the kids. So a group of us, Stephen, stand up, Nelson, stand up, put together something called the Friends of JROTC. And with Colonel Powell, who was a strict commander, mobilized all the cadets throughout the city, including the instructors. Collier, stand up, you were part of this. We did what everybody said we could not do. We collected signatures to put it on the ballot. And we won in every single precinct except one. That's why you're still all here. And it was because of Colonel Powell and his ability to convince many of us to work with him, and also to give the JROTC cadets a lesson in civic responsibility and how it works. He has a legacy not only with his cadets, but with the program, because without him, you would not be here. And so my memory of Colonel Powell was every time we were so discouraged, sometimes raising money and everything else. She goes, we can do it. Just keep on going. And he would get everybody organized, and we had so many groups throughout the city, across all political spectrums, that all came together because of what he started. This is his legacy. Doing things that people said we could not do, and I Jerry, I didn't recognize you. Jerry was part of it as instructor. Doing things we could not do on a shoestring budget, but with the manpower of all the instructors and all the cadets, we made it happen. That is his legacy.
Good afternoon. For those who don't know me, I guess they know me. But for those who don't know me, I'm Ron Pang, and I had the great honor and privilege to work with Colonel Powell while I was principal at Lincoln. A principal is often referred to as being the captain of the ship, who commands and safely guides the vessel to its destination. If that is so, then Colonel was the rudder who kept Lincoln at an even keel during rough waves and tumultuous weather. Students, staff, and parents, and the Sunset community saw Colonel as the patriarch who was always available to lend a listening ear, to offer sage advice, and to make fair decisions. I find it fortuitous that we celebrate Colonel Powell today, which coincides with Big Help Out Day, a day to showcase how volunteerism benefits both the community and those who help out. It reminds us that Colonel saw his job as more than leading the JROTC program, but also serving the community at large. You could always count on Colonel and the JROTC cadets to be at many school and San Francisco events, whether it was cleaning up the campus or the beaches, collecting food for the food bank. Remember those ice cream scoop days when we got free ice cream, kids? Marching at various parades and serving as color guards for the city and San Francisco. It was all these that made the school and San Francisco a better place to be at. I'm sorry. We returned to Lincoln exhausted and satisfied, but an added bonus was finding Colonel, Sarge, and the PE staff at the grill barbecuing hamburger patties and hot dogs to feed the hungry hordes. Remember Colonel Burgers? See? You don't remember working, but you remember Colonel Burgers. It was at those times when you realized that we were more than students, teachers, or parents, but we were a family, the Mustang family, that looked after and cared for each other. Thank you for everything, Colonel. You are and will always be a Mustang. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you guys. I'm Bobby Chung. I graduated class of 95, and I was a brigade commander. I have a little backstory, and I want to speak from a place where, as a representative from the LGBT community. When I was a freshman, and this is before I transitioned into being a guy, so I was a female, and I want to say that, even as a transgender young person, I was able to join the boys' drill team as a girl, and that really, the level of respect that I got from the program, the inclusiveness, have really shaped my childhood, and I bring all of the leadership skills that I have, into leading, other organizations as an adult. So, and I remember, also as an immigrant too, he really did expose me to a lot of American culture as well, because I lived pretty far from school. So after practice, it was getting pretty late, so he actually gave me rides home at times, and I had a lot of one-on-one time with him. And he introduced me to old school R&B, because his Lexus is always locked on KBLX, and so so that was really good to have that one-on-one time with him. And when I was a junior and I showed interest to apply for the brigade commander, the top position for the district, I went into his office and he pretty much said, okay, come back tomorrow. And I did, and I didn't know what to expect. And he handed me a sealed envelope, and he said, bring this to an interview. And I went to the interview, didn't know anyone, and I handed him the envelope during my interview. And 2 weeks later, I found out I got the position. So to this day, I still don't know what is in the envelope, but I know whatever that's in there, that's written in there, got me that position. And to be the leader for the district of San Francisco, and to also be a transgender individual was, pretty big. And I remember the time, even after I graduated, with the Friends of JROTC, I was also one of the people who helped with the website. And I was invited to speak to the school board. And Colonel and I actually went to some of the LGBT community to speak one-on-one with the group. So I was able to at least speak as a queer individual, to speak to my own community and say, hey, because there were, back in the days, there was Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and there was a big opposition from the LGBT community. So, and even people within my own community, the queer community, I do sort of, one-on-one to speak with them to sort of tell them to back down, which they did. And so that was a pretty big effort. But going back, I do want to bring up, about the barbecue and the burgers. I had some trips, to Costco with him, to buy those burgers. And one time I made him cook a veggie burger for me. So, hey, thank you.
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Colonel was a big deal to us, a really big deal to us. My wife has a saying that she wants to be someone who raises everyone's boats. I'm probably not saying it quite right, but that's what Colonel did. He believed in this country. The first time I met him, he came into my office, and I had only been there a little while. And he said, there's something missing in this office. And I didn't know. There was a lot of things missing, probably. And he whipped out this American flag, and he hung an American flag in my office, which was there until I retired. And he believed in America being a place where people belonged. He intuitively understood Alfred Adler's admonition that the main thing adolescents need is belonging. And in JROTC, he created a family where people belonged. He wanted me to leave the cadets alone. He was gentle but firm, and he would say, Joel, I felt honored that he called me by my first name. Joel, if you know that somebody's a cadet, can you tell me right away before you have to do anything? And there's some other people that are like that as well. One of them sitting right behind you, Phil. I'm very, very grateful to have been brought to Lincoln High School. I spent 25 years here. I'm grateful for Paula and how she guided me. I'm grateful for Ron dragging me here. I'm grateful for Lindsay teaching me so very much. But Colonel was in his own league. And he really is somebody we admire so very much and are so grateful for him.
Hello, I'm Martha Gould, and I'm a retired teacher from Lincoln, math teacher, and I want to thank Colonel Powell's family for being here today. I wanted to thank him as a support. You know, as being a teacher, I often went to him for support, and he was there to support. And also I want to thank him as a parent because I had two of my own children graduate from Lincoln, Jesse in 1995 and Sonia in 2002, and they both went through the ROTC program. And we weren't always sure with Jesse whether why he wanted to get out of PE, but in any case, for both of them, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm really thankful and honored to be here. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Nelson Lum. I'm the current commander of the District 8 of the American Legion here in San Francisco. The American Legion is the largest veteran service organization in our country. We have 2.5 million members nationwide, not all in San Francisco. Back in 2005, 2006, the members of the San Francisco Unified School District School Board, through lack of knowledge, I would assume, made a decision to cancel the JROTC program. It was shocking to most of us why anyone would cancel a program that was the most successful in the entire school system. The cadets in the program graduated at the rate of 98+% from school. And out of that group, 97% went on to college, which defeats the entire doctrine of those members of the board who claimed the program was for the purpose of recruiting for the military. It didn't happen. It wasn't true. However, it happened. The program was, in fact, canceled. They voted to cancel it, and a group of us, Quincy Yu, who was talking to you earlier, we met with Colonel Powell, and that's how I first met him. And we said, you know what? We are going to go to the voters of the city and county of San Francisco, even though we were told there's no chance because the city is too liberal. That's exactly what we were told. But guess what? Through the persistence of Colonel Powell, who's constantly working day in and day out, we succeeded in gathering the signatures, talking to the various community groups, and of course, in my personal situation, I have been known to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to express my feelings, and Colonel Powell was constantly standing behind me, giving me all this idea to get me in trouble. But we succeeded, and he and I have became friends ever since. Thank you.
I'm going to feel real bad about this because I'm doing it to Nick, but we got to keep it down to 2 minutes because we're on a schedule. Because we told the roofers to stop for like 30 minutes.
I had a half hour planned, sorry, but I cut it short. I'm Nick LaForgia. I'm a graduate 1991. I had the pleasure to be one of Colonel Powell's cadets and get to know him a little bit during that time. And I learned a lot from Colonel Powell, but I'll mention a couple things here today. One thing is I had the opportunity to see him on the phone in action, getting people to do things that they didn't want to do. And when he did that, if anyone ever had the pleasure of sitting with him, he was a master doodler. He could make the most intricate doodles on his pad there that would make any spider or engineer very jealous. And so I've carried this ability to doodle while talking on the phone with me a long way. And the other far more important thing is how he respected and valued everyone. And that's not to say he wouldn't tell you when you could be better and let you know it, but he opened with that respect and value and encouragement to be all you could be then and all you could become. And that is an amazing thing to take away from Colonel Powell. Colonel Powell was a lieutenant colonel, and I maybe thought all lieutenant colonels were like him, but I went on to have a career with the Army, and I knew many lieutenant colonels over that time. And some were great, some were okay, some weren't great at all. And it reminded me, it made me know that Colonel Powell was a special lieutenant colonel, very special person, a very special teacher, a special mentor. And we're all lucky to have known him. Thank you.
I'm Sergeant First Class Gardner. I met Colonel Powell over the phone. When I talked to him on the phone, they said, we need warriors and we need people who love young people to keep the program going in San Francisco. At the time, I was teaching in Oakland, California, and I said, sir, I'd like to come over. It'd be a privilege and an honor to serve with you and the San Francisco Battalion. I'd like to come to San Francisco. I left my heart here. I did a lot of things here with the San Francisco Opera and some other things, and I said, I'd like to come back to San Francisco. He says, get on, a good show, get in your car and get over here. I hit the Bay Bridge, and there was a big, huge mammoth accident, and it blocked me from getting there. And I called him on the phone. I said, I can't get there, sir. And he goes, well, fine, just keep working at it. I said, I still can't get there. I called him a third time. Okay, we'll give you another chance, give you another appointment. He gave me a second appointment. What happened? Another accident on the Bay Bridge. He goes, we really need you maybe over here, or maybe you're having difficulty getting here. I said, sir, I still want to get here. Are you determined to be a part of this program? I said, yes, sir. Your father was an extraordinary person. An extraordinary person. When I met him through Major and all the instructors here in San Francisco. That was my interview. And each one of them asked me a question. Can you get along with young people and a wide variety of cultures in the city? And I said, yes, sir, I can. He says, okay, then we're going to start bombarding you with questions. He says, I heard about your teaching experience, but he said, this is something different. This is a premier JROTC program. I said, sir, I want to be a part of it. Long story short, I got the job. I walked in, and the first thing he said, I'm retiring in 6 months. If something doesn't shoot something through you, I'm retiring 6 months. I'm going to teach you in 6 months everything you have to know about being a senior Army instructor and an Army instructor, and buck it up and learn everything. If you don't, then come back to my office and I'll tell you exactly how you're going to run it. Another story. The Colonel loved his coffee in the morning. That's why I brought it. But what problem he had was he would always put it in the microwave, and then he would boil it over, and there was no coffee afterwards. I said, sir, I'm very capable of doing your coffee for you. I'll do it every morning. He said, fine, good show. He went back to his office. From that point on, for 3 years, I brought him his coffee, and it was warm, and it wasn't burnt. Being an instructor is being a servant. That's what he told me. I'm still doing it to this day because of this officer that was extraordinary. We went down to school board meetings together with the instructors and the students and the parents. And we went down there and we gave our grievance, and He'd say, this is the way democracy is supposed to work. You go down and you lead by example and you take charge. And that's what he did. Colonel, you beat me to the promised land. But I guarantee you, what you taught me, I will never forget. And I will never forget that, and I will always remind my cadets that you have to provide purpose and direction and motivation, and you got to complete the mission. And that's what Colonel Powell did. Keep up the good work. And God bless Colonel Powell. I wish I could have gone back to Georgia and been there when he had his service. I know I watched online with Colonel Bullard, and I'm going, let's keep the program going in California. Let's keep it going in San Francisco. Let's keep it going because leadership is the greatest program, and it's the only great program of leadership. And that's what we have to teach our future leaders. It's here. It's a part of the program. I've been a commander of the American Legion. I've been an auxiliary with the VFW. But there's no program that's greater than JROTC because it's time-tested. Please, all of you, give that to all of the cadets and lead by example. Thank you. God bless you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tia, class of 98, Battalion XO, Battalion Commander. COM, thanks to Mike, he wouldn't let me lose. There's an ongoing theme in our Facebook chat that Colonel is like a father figure to us, which he is. If you invited him, somehow he'd make it. As S5 planning our Disneyland trip.
Closer.
Okay.
Don't we?
As S5 planning our Disneyland trip, I went into Colonel's office. I said, Colonel, my grandmother will not let me go to Disneyland. He said, give me her number, I'm gonna call her. I said, what? So I stepped out of the office while he had that conversation. When I came back in, he said, you can go. I was like, okay. So when I got home, I thought I was gonna hear from my grandma, but she didn't say nothing. And moving forward, every RO trip since I can go on with no questions asked. So I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Powell, Miss Robin, Miss Rhonda for sharing him with us. Because if it wasn't for him being in our lives, a lot of us turkeys will not be where we are today. So thank you.
I have 10 minutes speech. No, I'm just kidding. So my name is Grace. I'm from class of 97. When we were in Georgia, the Powell girls asked me, what is this thing with turkey? We all know what it is. If you guys look at the wristband, what does it say? His favorite turkey. You guys all think you're the favorite, but everybody know I am. Okay, that's it. I don't have a lot of speech to talk.
Hi everyone, I'm Victoria D, or Vicky Gomez, in the 90s. I'd have to say that when I first transferred to Lincoln, it was my sophomore year. Found a home right away in the ROTC program and found a lot of friends that I've had many adventures with. And even after his passing, he connected me with 3 wonderful women that I wouldn't have known in high school because our paths didn't meet. We shared a bond in Georgia that I won't soon forget. And just being welcomed into the Powell household, showing us where he would enjoy sitting and watching the geese, it really was something special and something I was really glad that I can be a part of. Does anybody else want to share our adventures in Georgia? Okay, well, yeah, you guys could read the chat. Thank you.
My name is Rosemary Comcar, and I am very proud to call Colonel a very dear friend of mine. Believe it or not, My son was 2 back in 1984 when I was assigned to work at Lincoln. And my son is 43. So we've been tight for so many reasons. Let me begin by saying thank you to the group that was just up here, Grace, and that was the organizing group for today. So from the bottom of our hearts, everybody here, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody that I did activities and Colonel did ROTC, and our kids were the same kids, basically. And so it's so good to see the class of 19 in the 90s. The 90s were always my favorite decade at Lincoln for a number of years. You guys, I am serious. In early 90s, we had a horrible event on campus. We had the school shooting. And then in the end 90s, we had Peter Yan passing away for the Yan, the Yan gym. It rocked us. It rocked us as a faculty and as a student body. And I can see that the evidence today is, if you look at the 35 people who I have contacted to say, hey, come, we're not on Facebook, we're doing this thing for Colonel Powell, let's go, pay tribute to him. It's just special. It is incredibly special. So all I can do is thank you, everybody, from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've done while you were in this building back in the 90s, since the 90s, and today. And for his family to be here, I know how special you are to him. And I know I was like one of the driving force saying, are you moving yet? Well, you just get moving, Colonel. Come on, I'll help you pack. But I just loved him to pieces. And until we meet again, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pearl Ho, Lincoln High School class of 2000 and a forever Mustang. And like many of you, I found a second father in Colonel Powell. JROTC was supposed to be just 2 years instead of gym, but somehow I spent nearly every free moment of the next 4 years in RO. So before school, after school, weekends, you name it, I was probably there. And chances are you probably were too. But Colonel had a way of making a class into a calling. Through PT, drills, competition, and conversations, he taught us more than just discipline. He taught us how to lead, how to serve, and how to believe in ourselves, especially when times was hard. He made us feel seen, heard, and cared for. When I wasn't feeling very well, he would let me sleep on the brown leather couch at his office. When I didn't have lunch, he would make me a cup of noodle. And he called me pet, teacher's pet, of course. I thought I was his favorite, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I'm pretty sure he made everyone feel that way. And as I see all these posts, and I see his family here and everyone here, I realize that Colonel had a life before us and a life after us. But during the time that he was with us, he gave us everything. It didn't matter if we were Mustangs, Cardinals, Buccaneers, or anything else. He called us turkeys, no matter where we came from. And we are his turkeys, and he is our Colonel. So to borrow a couple of lines from a song I think says it best, how do you thank someone who has taken you from crayons to perfume? It isn't easy, but I'll try. So thank you, Colonel, for everything.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Chance Glover, class of 99, battalion commander. I'm not going to be long. I have a lot of emotion going through me, but I just want to say thank you to the Colonel. Met him in '95 as a freshman. I was kind of quiet, standoffish, but it was Colonel and the battalion that made me feel a sense of part of being. Colonel, like everyone has said already, Colonel had a way of making something feel like home, family, brotherhood. He's been through a lot of stuff with me, a lot of stuff that people don't really know, but he's been through a lot of stuff with me through high school. I would come down to ROTC and he'd be like, Chance, this is not your period. What are you doing down here? I'll make up some excuse as to why I'm down there. Chance, get your butt to class. He would talk very frank with me. I had I'm kind of everywhere right now. I had the privilege of running into Colonel, I want to say last year. He told me he was, I was at Starbucks in Ceremony on my way to work. And I seen this white Lexus SUV come into the parking lot. And I said, I know that person. But it wasn't until he got out the car and he started walking that Colonel walked, shaking his keys. So I walked up to him and I said, thank you for everything. And we had a brief moment to reconnect, but he told me he was moving back to Georgia, and then I learned of his passing, which rocked me to my core because he, like I said, he did a lot for me. He did a lot with me. And I thought he was just gonna live on forever because he was in good health, you know. But anyways, I just want to say thank you to his family, and thank you, sir. Your memory will live on with me forever. Thank you.
Hi, Ryan Ng, class of '02. Very similar to some of the stories that were said, I came into our JROTC with one goal in mind. I don't like running, and I'm gonna do 2 years and leave. 4 years later, still being in JROTC, I couldn't look back at high school anymore without having such fond memories of the program. Just working alongside all my students, and just having Colonel Powell give us the opportunity for leadership and all these opportunities that we never would even imagine having, really, that prepared us more for life afterwards. Just as an observer, Colonel Powell was the first to show up at school, pretty much the last to leave, because he was there before to open it up. He was there because we had practice after school to close up. He was there on the weekends so we can have weekend practices. It quite literally never stopped, just looking in hindsight, how much time and dedication he put into the students. I think a big reason why I stayed in for 4 years was because of his dedication and the community that he was able to build up in the JROTC program. Just giving us that space, helping us build that community with one another, being able to dedicate our time to work towards a goal together. Those are all great things that I really took from Colonel Powell, and I appreciate so much from him. That's it.
Hello, my name is Alan Wong, Lincoln class of 2005, current first lieutenant in the Army National Guard and one of your local elected city college board members. In high school, from when I attended Lincoln from 2001 through 05, I actually didn't join JROTC. My mom told me, oh, don't join JROTC because they're gonna get you join the military. So, I actually did PE. But so later on, as I got to know about the JROTC program and I saw all my fellow students and peers that were so inspired, and how they stayed and they built up their confidence to be stronger people and built up the camaraderie and friendships. It really brought me a level of inspiration. At that time, the school board was trying to shut down JROTC, and so at that time when I was the student delegate to the school board, I worked with him and Doug Bullard from Lowell to advocate for JROTC, and so we supported that as best we could. And he was a courageous leader. He supported all of us, all of my peers, and even people not in JROTC to be better than we were. My classmates were always in the other classes saying, oh, Colonel this, Colonel this, Colonel this. So even when you weren't in JROTC, you could feel his presence. My classmates always look forward to being in the program. So many, even though they didn't need to, stayed in JROTC for all 4 years. From my experience knowing him and working together, he provided calm, steady, strong leadership. And he exemplified service, leadership, and built confidence for so many young people that led them to be better people, better citizens later on. So I want to thank the Colonel for inspiring me and for so many Lincoln Mustangs to be better people and encouraging us to be good citizens for this country. Thank you.
How are you doing? I'm Joe Munar. I first met Colonel Powell in '87 by accident, really. We were supposed to go to Lowell, but apparently they had too many of my breed in Lowell. So after some time, my dad had to go down to the school district. Back then, you know, whatever public school you live around, that's where you went. So we lived, you know, in Sunset, so we ended up here at Lincoln. We were kind of terrified. We went, you know, we had a Catholic school all our lives, so all we heard was Lincoln was gangland, which it was, but it was good. It was good for us. But then I do remember selecting ROTC because the counselor was like, hey, you don't have to run around. But I have a few stories about Colonel. Somehow, some way, you know, when you're a youngin', you tag, right? So somehow he recognized my tag down there in the ROTC. And he's like, hey, son, you know, I got to show you something. So he showed me he's like, is that you? I was like, yes, that's me. So he's like, yeah, you just have to just erase that one. Well, you know, Colonel had his way. So he had me erase all the graffiti. He's like, hey, that looks good. Why don't you do that one? And why don't you do that one? Why don't you do this whole door? So I ended up. But he also introduced me to the boys drill team. I do see a few of my cohorts down here, and he did teach me well. But one more thing, he did tell my dad one time. He's like, yeah, you know, if your son joins this drill team, we're gonna do him good, and he did me good. So he got me through a career, 23 years in the Air Force, and then more so in the government. So thank you, Colonel. You're my favorite American soldier.
Hello, everybody. My name is Aubrey Mendoza, class of 2005. I was also a brigade commander at that time. I'll make this quick because I came late, and I'm sorry. I picked up another alumni from 1985, so excuse my tardiness. Just listening to what you guys said about Colonel, like from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s maybe. What I'm noticing is the common theme is that he trusted all of us. He trusted us. He trusted all of us to do the right thing when we had to do it, whether it's late after school practice. Late after school practice where he would be here for us, being here on the weekends where we would, technically be trespassing. The only reason why we didn't trespass is because he was the adult. Oh, okay. Is that better? So, long story short, I heard some stories where he said, oh, I want to do 2 years and now I'm done. But really it was 4 years. I had the opportunity to serve until about 2016. Because after high school, Colonel Powell kept asking me every year to assist him at Camp Parks. And I would be fortunate enough to drag some friends with me, like Audie over there, Harrison over there. So we had a lot of time with Colonel, so he would teach us a lot of stuff. It was great because not only we got to learn with Colonel Powell, we got to learn with the esteemed cadre from the other schools and just learn how they all work together to keep this program together. The last thing is, the night that I found out that Colonel Powell passed away, it really hit me like deep in my core, because like he filled in that like male role model for me, and it helped me be out of the streets pretty much. Long story short, it was a nice reunion, calling all my friends saying, "Oh, Colonel passed away," even though the theme was, "Oh man, I wish we were talking on better circumstances." But even in death, he brought us all together. And even today, I mean, with alumni here from many generations, we're all together and reminiscing of the good times. So thank you, Colonel Powell. Thank you to Colonel Powell's family for being here. Thank you for the cadre who taught us all the stuff that we need to do, even though it's tough love sometimes. But thank you, everybody here, for allowing me to speak. Have a good one.
It wasn't. Or, here, where the mic? I think the mic works, it's just.
Give us a second here. Thank you.
So I'm gonna turn this on and off then.
Of course, when Which one am I gonna use?
Do that one.
Hello? Can you hear me? No? Yes. Now? Okay. Of course, the mic's, having issues right when I have to speak. Oh, okay. Thank you, Delia's. I'm Sarah McMahon, or Jungjarian, class of 92. Happy to be here today. I've been smiling all morning, and even now standing here, looking at all of you. Some I've kept in touch with, and most I haven't seen since I left high school. And yet we're all here today for one man, our Colonel. So thank you for being here to show love and respect for this incredible person we were so blessed to have in our lives. Before I start our final reflections to the Colonel, I encourage everyone to think about who Colonel was to you. A legacy of leadership. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Powell Jr. was a mentor, a leader, a guiding presence who believed deeply in the potential of young people. After a distinguished military career, he brought the same sense of purpose and honor to the classroom, where he transformed the JROTC program into a powerful force for growth, discipline, and confidence. For nearly 3 decades, he was more than an instructor. He was a builder of character, a source of encouragement, and a quiet force for good. He didn't just teach us students discipline and leadership. He helped us discover our own strength. I was a freshman at Lincoln High, and in my 3rd year living here in America when I joined JROTC. The alphabets were the last thing I learned before I left Thailand, struggling to be here to understand American English with my Thai English dictionary attached to my hips. I also didn't feel like I belonged. I don't remember exactly what motivated me to join, but I knew within the first 10 minutes, sitting among other cadets in Charlie company, that I had made the right decision. I felt a sense of belonging, and Colonel had ways of doing that. He has ways of encouraging you to be respectful and responsible to yourself and others. He helped me see my potential. He helped me find my voice. And most importantly, he helped me discover the strength I didn't know I had. JROTC was a community, a family I didn't know I needed in school, and Colonel was responsible for that. His door was always open. He created a space where students felt seen, challenged, and empowered to lead. His legacy lives on in every student who found strength under his guidance and purpose through his belief in them. The values he championed, respect, responsibility, service, remain embedded in the hearts of those who walk through his program and continue to lead beyond it. His legacy lives on in every salute, every lesson carried forward, and every life set on a better path, because he believed in it, because he believed in all of us. A true leader is not measured by rank or title, but by the lives they lived and the path they clear for others. Trying real hard here. Colonel always showed up for us. And looking at you all today, he would be so happy and proud that you showed up for him. So thank you so much for being here.
So I'm going to just go without the mic because that's what the Colonel taught me. So one of the things that I really wanted to thank a lot of the people who are here and some of the people who aren't here, we raised $5,435 for the Colonel Powell Memorial. Being the fiscally responsible guy that I am, we're going to give $3,000 for Texas today. The current PAI, Colonel Bullard, he really wanted to be here. He was actually at a commissioning ceremony for one of his cadets in Virginia. He got stuck in Roanoke last night. But he was trying to make it, I think he landed 15 minutes ago. So in lieu of that, Dr. Hin is going to come here. He's Lincoln Class of 95. He didn't do JROTC, but we don't do instructor at Lincoln RTC. He's the starter. So, all right. We got one more video, and then we're gonna do taps. And yeah, go ahead.
Thank you all so much for being here, telling your story. I don't take it lightly being in this position. There's a legacy that you guys all built, and while I'm here, I will continue to share the standard that you guys uphold. I will try to do the exact same. So just know that this program is in good hands, and we will continue the same tradition. So thank you very much.
We're going to ask you all to stand at this point because we're going to play taps. Just in case, this is an actual video of Colonel Powell's funeral. Thank you for coming. There's food downstairs. There's a memorial downstairs for Colonel. I'm sure all of us would really love to get together and swap stories and just read.